Solaria, leave me. Victory here means death.
I once thought the same of my home world.
Hello everyone, Zeppelin from DualShockers here, and I'm here to talk about Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War 3. As you probably imagined, since it has a 3 in the title, this is the third chapter of the Dawn of War series that had been very much absent from the spotlight for quite a while, considering that THQ, the old publisher of the series, went the way of the dodo. Right now they're kind of back in a way, but that's a story for another time. Now the series is handled by Sega, but it's still developed by Relic, so it's back, and I'm very much excited about it because I'm a big Warhammer 40,000 fan, and actually a big Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War fan. Which is kind of normal considering that, at least at that time, the Dawn of War series was basically the only decent Warhammer game we had. So yeah, I'm very excited to finally get my hands on it, and I actually got my hands on it at Gamescom. I was able to play a full mission, which is the mission that you're seeing on the screen right now. Actually, this is not my gameplay because I wasn't able to record it. It's B-roll provided by Sega, but it's the same mission that I played, and it was a really awesome mission. I had a lot of fun. This gameplay is actually probably playing a lot better than I did, mostly because I was surprised at the beginning, because Dawn of War had quite an evolution through the series. The first Dawn of War had a lot of base building, and then it kind of evolved in a way in which the base building was removed, and the series kind of became almost a MOBA, very much based on heroes. I'm saying almost about, of course it was still an RTS, but it was kind of MOBA-ish in a way that it was very much hero based, so you didn't really have to worry about building up your base. It wasn't your usual classic Dune or StarCraft like RTS. Right now in this game the base building elements are back, so it feels a lot like a classic RTS. And I was surprised at the beginning because I didn't know that I needed to handle the base as much as I needed. So I kind of neglected it, and I find myself with the gimped army, and I had to struggle a little bit to get back on top. But that's a good thing, because if you like RTS games, like the classic base building elements, they are back, and they are really good. So what the heroes, though, despite the fact that we are very much closer to the first Dawn of War than to the second, the heroes are still there and are still a very important part of the game. The first heroes we have two heroes here. The first heroes you have is Gabriel Angelos, which is the commander of the Blood Ravens, and if you played any Dawn of War game, you're probably very familiar with him. He is back and as badass as ever. He has very strong melee moves. He has a big jump, and he can bash on the ground and destroy enemies around him. But there is a second hero, which is Solaria. Solaria is absolutely fantastic. You're probably looking on the screen to see if there is some girl, small, there walking around. Well, that's not what Solaria is. Solaria is an Imperial Knight. And an Imperial Knight is not your ideal. If you're not familiar with the Warhammer 40,000 universe, a knight is not a guy on a horse. Is someone that's piloting a actual knight. The knight itself is a big mecha that you can see on the screen with gatlings as hands, and that's the knight. And that's actually a pretty interesting take on the universe and on the lore, because normally when you don't see many females on the Warhammer 40,000 universe at all, and when you do see them, they are either sister of battle or assassins normally. You don't really see many female Imperial Knight, Possibly because, I don't know, maybe people don't really associate a lady with a giant robot that's tall as a skyscraper, just a step smaller than Titan. But she is absolutely fantastic. For now, we haven't seen the story yet, so we don't know how she behaves in the story yet. But even just seeing the battle lines she has, the banter and all that, I absolutely love her. I mean, she is a big hulking Titan with, well, Titan. It's not a Titan. Titans in Warhammer 40,000 universe are even bigger. But she is a big mecha with Gatlings as arm, giant missiles, and she's just awesome. Of course, the heroes are just one side of the coin, because in this game, heroes can't act alone. You need to churn out your troops, pretty much like in a classic RTS game, because heroes are kind of weak when they are swarmed and they are not escorted. Especially Solaria. Her weapons are not very effective at close range. So if she gets a lot of smaller troops close to her feet and is warmer, she gets chipped out very, very, very fast, and she can die. So you need to escort your heroes, and you need to have them reinforced by other troops. And to do that, this is where the base building element comes in, because you need to gradually build up your army. You have also drop pods that allow you to drop your troops anywhere you need them, and they are very important, especially in this mission. But you also need to, is another classic RTS element, you also need to take care of defending your base. This mission is a mission in which you very much have to push, because you have to reach a temple on the other side of the map. But you also need to defend your base, which is something that wasn't very present in the latest Dawn of War games, because since it was pretty much a almost, please don't take me too literally, almost an action RPG in which you had a group of heroes that moved on through the map and kind of didn't really need to worry about what they left behind. Here you definitely need to worry about the base, because if your base is destroyed and your enemies will keep attacking your base, you're screwed. So you really need to have this twofold approach of defending your base and attacking on the other side. And that's definitely a good thing for me, because it really adds to the strategic element of the game. So this is actually really nice. And another thing that's very important to say about Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War 3, maybe it's because of 3 in the title, but it actually has 3 races, which are Space Marine, of course, the Blood Ravens, Elder, and Orcs. This is actually a bit of a departure from the previous games, because in the first game you played the Blood Raven in the campaign, and that's it. In other games, you could kind of choose your army, and depending on which one you preferred. But in this game, that's not the case anymore. Basically, you alternate between Space Marine, Elder, and Orcs, and you have to play them in order to progress the campaign. And it will show you the story from different point of views. This actually is, for me, something I'm a little skeptical about, and I will explain you why right now. I and many Warhammer 40,000 players like to specialize on an army, and they kind of are attached emotionally to these armies almost. I'm a very dedicated Space Marine player, so I normally always play Space Marines. There are other players that are very much dedicated to the other armies, and playing other armies kind of feels a little bit unnatural, and it's difficult to connect with them. Like, for instance, I think I probably be able to connect with the Elders pretty easily, but I don't think it will be easy for me to connect with the Orcs. because I find them terribly annoying. I mean, they're a great race, but as a Space Marine player, I hate them naturally. But so Relic here will have to convince me, and they will have to make sure, for players like me, they will have to make sure that all the races are very attractive and fun to play, and even just interesting lore-wise. So we'll have to see. I'm not going to pass judgment right now, especially since we didn't see basically anything of the campaign. But it'll be interesting to see how they will try to make everything interesting for players. But now, as you can see, the gameplay is really classic RTS style with a hero flavor added to it. Some units have special abilities, but in the end, the real meat of the game is building up your army, sending them to fight, dividing them in the battlefield depending on where, on what's happening in the mission, and what kind of objectives do you have. There are secondary objectives as well, so you have to you may want to either send smaller forces to get them or deter your larger army in order to grab them. But still, there are quite a variety of tactical situations offered. So it's not only a matter of building a big blob of troops and just sending them ahead and they will trample everything. Because if you do that, your base will be undefended and you probably die before you actually can do that. One of the things that's really fun is, I have to say, just playing with the vehicles and the smaller units. They are almost as fun as playing with the heroes, because they are very diverse. And that's something that if you played the earlier Warhammer 40,000 games, you already know already. But a tactical marine, for instance, plays very different from an assault marine. An assault marine plays very different from a devastator marine with heavy weapons, and they all play very different from a dreadnought. Dreadnoughts, I've noticed, they are very powerful. They're almost hero-like. I almost felt like when I built a dreadnought, I almost felt like I had a second Gabriel Angelos to play with. Maybe it's not exactly the same. By the way, I'm sorry if my voice is a little crap, but I actually have a cold. I shouldn't be doing this, but no rest for the wicked, you know? So I am. One thing is for sure, though. Despite the terrible state of my voice, I'm actually really excited to talk about this, because the game feels like a big return to form for the Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War series. I mean, I didn't dislike the latest one, but the first one was still my favorite, because it was really classic RTS. Maybe a little less twitchy than your StarCraft or your Red Alert, but it was really interesting and deep. And this game feels very much like that, just with the addition of the heroes, but the heroes don't feel out of place. They just feel like more powerful units that, on the other hand, you need to cover very efficiently to keep them at their best. The Space Marine army is like really fun to play, and I really can't wait to play them. The Elder, from what I've seen, of course I've seen them just as enemies. They also look very interesting, and they have a lot of variety, as you can imagine if you're familiar with the Elder. They also have their own giant unit that is kind of the counterpart of Solaria, and I'm kind of looking forward to see if this unit is just as bad as Solaria, because, you know, so I think I'm in love with Solaria. And I think I really want to see a role in the story, even more than a role on the battlefield. We'll actually have more content coming very soon about Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War 3, and we actually have 2 interviews, one with the game director and one with the lead writer, and they will come out within this week, so you will be able to hear their own point of view on the game as well. And they had some very interesting things to say, especially on the story. And well, not very much. They didn't really give very many details in the story, but out the philosophy in which they built everything, which is quite interesting. And so I invite you to stay tuned and to come back soon to DualShockers to see read those interviews. But for now, I think I talked enough, and I'm actually pretty sure that you actually want to watch some raw gameplay without me blabbering on top of it all the time and hear the original audio that is actually very good, especially Solaria's voice. And yeah, I know I'm a little obsessed with Solaria, but she's just that great. In any way, I'm just going to be quiet until the end of the mission and let you enjoy it. So thank you a lot for watching, thank you a lot for listening, and again, I'd like to invite you to come back and read the interviews when they're ready, but for now, I'm off. Thank you!
Predator Annihilator, readying for drop. He who fights with me shall be mine. Preparing las cannon devastators for deployment. Chapter Command fights with you. Where might we dispense our
The China is ready.
No doubt.
You call forth our elite warriors, Commander.
Ready. Annihilator,
The world awaits your orders.
Instruments read ready.
Heavy bolter devastators await your orders.
Engine and Annihilator ready.
Have a foe only we can slay.
We are ready for war. Doing it
A
now.
whirlwind awaits for orbital deployment.
Preparing assault marines for deployment. You have my favor and the Emperor's.
As cannons charge, just the roar of these bolters are our weapons. We are yours.
Signal clear. Go ahead.
Show us a target. No doubts, no fears, no hesitations. This one would serve. Servitor.
Assault marines
These
deployed.
bolters are our weapons. We are yours. Heavy bolter team stands
I am Gabriel, Lord of the Blood Raven.
Just
Show us the victory you seek.
count the enemy.
Command us.
This one would serve.
Preparing heavy bolter devastators for deployment.
We hear you. Go ahead.
Yes. Ready here.
Bolter Devastators await your orders.
Fears, no hesitation. Annihilate, moving now!
Tactical Marines report that they are on site.
One's function is as follows: work, toil, labor, drudgery.
These bolters show us a target. We shall rely on his might.
Obedience compels servitor.
Run them down, brothers!